Hey guys, welcome back. This is your host Phil from underKG.com, and today we're going to take a look on the LG's new flagship V40 ThinQ. So this is what it looks like on the front. It's got a pretty big display. There's a little notch, but not that big. It doesn't bother me that much. Thanks to that, it's got really narrow bezels, top, bottom, left, and right. It's not completely bezel-less, but close enough. On the rear, we got the glass back panel. Yes, that is glass. It's sandblasted to give it that subtle matte look. It still reflects the light depending on the angle that you shoot it in. It both looks and feels nice as well. At the same time, it's very light. Unlike other phones weighing 209 grams, 236 grams, 204 grams, this only weighs 169 grams. And it's also very thin at 7.7 millimeters, while being incredibly sturdy with mil-spec certification and IP68 weather protection. And this is a display. This is in-house built LG OLED panel from LG Display, and unlike the one in V30 and Pixel 2 XL, this one is really good. Uniformity is good, brightness is good, although it gets really bright only under direct sunlight. Color reproduction is good, and it comes with a number of screen options, starting from auto, cinema, sports, game, photos, web, and expert, that even allows you to control saturation, hue, and sharpness as well. And of course, there are basic options including color temperature and fine-tuning each of the R, G, and B levels. Performance-wise, it's got Snapdragon 845 and 6 GB of RAM, and this thing is incredibly fast. I've accelerated the animation like I do on all the other phones, but look at this, launching an app, closing that, launching another one, closing that, launching another one on top of that, and switching between all those apps are incredibly fast. Now, the overall speed is on par with competing devices, and it's pretty spacious as well. You can choose between 64 or 128 GB of storage, which are further expandable through the micro SD card slot. Unfortunately, software isn't the best. It comes with the proprietary LG skin on top of Android 8.1 Oreo. Overall user experience feels a little outdated with the little icons, fonts, and overall color choices. While the look of software is totally up to one's liking, this one does look a little outdated. Plus, it's missing the fingerprint sensor gesture, which is included in the cheaper LG devices like the Q7 or X4 Plus, and that notch hiding feature still only works with the first-party apps. So as soon as you jump into the other apps like the Google Play Store, the notch area is once again visible. And plus, while you can always see the battery percentage on top if you wish to, you can see the Bluetooth icon on top even when the battery percentage is off and there is a lot of empty space in the middle. But the V40 ThinQ's biggest feature is the penta camera. Penta being the triple on the rear and dual on the front, 3 plus 2, 5, so that's penta. A little marketing scheme overkill, but Chinese manufacturers are calling the dual plus dual the quad camera, so I guess I'll just let that go. Besides, it doesn't really matter what it's called as long as the photos look good, and it's somewhat of a mixed bag. The main 16 megapixels of sensor, that's f1.5, that's really bright. That one's gotten better. It's got bigger sensors, bigger pixel size. Overall, it takes pretty decent photos. Low lighting photos are still somewhat blurry and artificial, but overall it's got dual phase detection autofocus, smart HDR, and 4K 60 FPS recording. It's a generally good camera. What's not are the rest of the two telephoto and super wide angle cameras. Firstly, they got bad details. It's not only about the resolution, but overall the details are smudged. Even with the telephoto lens, thanks to sensor sizes, the details are sacrificed and smudged out. And secondly, there's no OIS for the other two lenses. This makes low lighting photo very tricky. It often gets shaky, so you'll have to try really hard to hold your breath. I don't expect all three cameras to have OIS built in, but both Galaxy and iPhones have OIS in both of their dual cameras. And yes, LG did try to fix that through the AI cam. It automatically recognizes the scenes and tries to give it the best setting for that environment. Unfortunately, most of the times it gets the situation wrong, and for the rare occasion where it gets it right, it often exaggerates everything. Now, in contrast, portrait mode works surprisingly well. The edge recognition is really good, and unlike the Samsung Galaxy, it doesn't whine randomly and declines to apply the portrait mode. And thankfully, the effect is really good on the selfie cam as well. But unfortunately, it doesn't mean that the selfie cams themselves are good. See, it's got dual cameras, one is wide angle and one is normal angle, and wide angle lens is so low in resolution and dark in aperture that even in bright conditions, the details are simply terrible. And both angles suffer greatly in low lighting conditions, not to mention that they get incredibly shaken. So all the features are really fun, like triple preview, where you can see all three angles in one preview screen, or triple shot, where it takes 3 different angle photos, so just in case you want wider angle photo or zoomed in photo, you have all 3 of them. It also has the feature called the Cine Shot, where you take a video and choose the part where you want to have the video moving, and rest of the parts are going to be still. So it's like one of those Harry Potter newspapers. And what about the audio? Thankfully, it still has the headphone jack on the bottom, and just like other LG phones, it's got a load of audio features, starting from volume normalizer, equalizer that you can also customize, DTS:X 3D surround, wide front side to side, and hi-fi quad DAC, of course, coming with sound preset, and digital filter, and left and right audio balance. This thing is a package. With the hi-fi quad DAC turned on, the music sounds crisp and detailed, whilst providing very precise volume controls. But what's not so good are the speakers. Yes, those Boombox speakers are terrible. They got bad clarity, inexistent bass, and cracking treble. Yes, the receiver on top generates some sort of sound, a really small sound that they should not call it the dual speaker. I often call the Xiaomi's attempt a gimmick, but this is a disaster. Of course, this comes with the Boombox technology, so putting it on top of an object that can vibrate along with the speaker should make the sound richer. Yeah, it does get louder, but that empty, vacant sound isn't going anywhere. Oh, and by the way, this thing is still mono. Now to the battery. It's got 3300 milliamps of cell built in, and since the V30 has such a spectacular battery life, I expected the same, but it only gave me 4 hours to 4.5 hours of screen on time, which is one of the worst battery lives in recent flagships. And charging through the USB-C port isn't specifically fast either. For half an hour you get 43%, for an hour you get 79%, and an hour and 50 minutes to fully charge that battery. It also supports fast wireless charging through the glass back. For the same half an hour you get 29% filled, 52% for an hour, and it takes a whopping 2 hours and 40 minutes to fully charge that battery. And now, in conclusion, the LG V40 ThinQ isn't a bad phone. It's got impressive display, snappy performance, and triple cameras along with the dual front-facing camera. But LG claimed that they focus on the A, B, C, and D, audio, battery, camera, and display. Of them, they only made a few hits. Firstly, I'd rather go for the good dual cameras with dual OIS than triple camera with shaky photos. Same goes with the front-facing camera. I'd rather choose one nice autofocus enabled cam rather than two blurry ones. And that battery. I can't believe that this is a better performance of the flagship phone in 2018. Now, getting back to the part that I called it not necessarily a bad phone, that statement was without thinking about the prices. Now, this one costs $949.99 in America, which is the price that matches the iPhone XS and the Galaxy Note 9. Comparing with those two, this is a relatively bad phone. Unless you really need those 5 different angle cameras at the expense of photo quality, or that quad DAC at the great expense of the speaker quality, this is going to be a tough sell for LG. I'd say that $200 lower than that MSRP, around $750, this is an okay deal, but never at the sticker price. This is not worth that money. So that was the LG V40 ThinQ. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. You can always meet us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and we'll see you guys later.